single in the first. Watch out.
Look at this. Upton pops it up. Left side, Elvis Andrus is backpedaling. He is under it. He puts it away. The Texas Rangers have won a postseason series.
The Texas Rangers are American League champions.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you Saturday night. Rangers clinging to a 4-3 lead, 1-2 count to wins. Jacob Junis on the bump. Ball 2 here. We're going to bring you the rest of this one, some live play-by-play color commentary, which will launch right into our post-game show. Glad you're hanging out. Hope you're having a good Saturday so far. It was looking bleak before a Jungle Cat bomb a couple innings ago. Oppo Taco that gave the Rangers a 4-3 lead in this one. MacKenzie Gore with an interesting outing that might be putting it a little bit too nicely. We will break down as much as we possibly can, and of course we'll take all of your comments and questions along the way. More so probably in the aftermath of the game. Little tough to get to everything while we are watching live, just like I'm sure you are. Wins is going to pop this one up. Looks like Junis will get out of the inning unscathed. Carter makes the catch, and the Rangers head to the bottom of the 8th. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. It's good to see you. Josh Young definitely does feel like the hottest hitter on the team right now. I mean, look, you go by the numbers. He definitely has the OPS lead, 905. Nimmo close behind at 835. Josh Young now batting 302. I think it's a very good argument, best hitter on the team. I mean, it just doesn't completely sound natural off the tongue with how Josh Young has played in 2024 and 2025, but I think you've got to give it to him in 2026. He's found something, and it's a beautiful thing to see. I think we all agreed this was a big year for Josh Young. Of course, there have been people that have doubted his ability, myself included. I got to be real about that, to make it as a long-term option at third base in this franchise. It's a small sample at this point still, nonetheless, but I don't know how you can't appreciate what you're seeing from the Jungle Cat. I absolutely am pumped to see him on a roll right now, and the Rangers need it. I mean, imagine where they'd be right now without Josh Young turning in some of these performances. It would be pretty ugly. I mean, you go again up and down this lineup, and you've got 1, 2, 3 hitters above 800 OPS. You got Seager, Nimmo, you got Josh Young. You got a lot of guys in the 600s. There are not a ton of other spots in the lineup that are doing a whole lot right now beyond Seager, Nimmo, and Young. Yes, there are the occasional guys that step up here and there and make a difference. I mean, any guy on a given night can step up, get hot. We're talking about consistency, though. Feels like Siegs, feels like Young and Nimmo are probably the 3 guys you can really count on at this point. Everybody else feels like a little bit of a crapshoot. Mark Leiter in the ball game right now, by the way. He got freaking rocked by Jake Berger in Sacramento in his last appearance against the Rangers. Although he did have a scoreless 1-2-3, 8th or 9th inning, I believe, in one of the first games in that series. So he's been a little bit on and off in his time facing the Rangers thus far. It's on victory only, I believe, man. I am sorry to all y'all that are having trouble with watching these games. I mean, it is the one maybe nice thing about living out here in Vegas, not having to worry about the in-market stuff. I mean, I'm just all out of market, so it makes it a little bit more simple. I just buy MLB TV and we go from there. So with that being said, absolutely really hoping, and I've said this for many, many years now, really hoping that MLB is able to figure out a way to just get this a little bit more streamlined. It is very, very frustrating when you are a fan that lives in the market and you're having to do all these crazy things to watch a ball game, whether it's buying multiple subscriptions, a VPN, whatever it is. It's frustrating. Berger doing Adolis things again. Yeah, you guys kind of know where I'm at with Jake Berger. I love Berg, the person. I love Berger, the guy, but as a player, we talked about this on the show probably multiple times, I would say, in the past week. You know, if Berger could be like your 6-hole, your 7-hole hitter, I know he's got so much power and he puts it on display right here, hitting this ball just foul. I really feel like he's better suited for a little bit more of a spot slightly deeper in the order. I know that the power is what is always going to make him an attractive option in cleanup, but I just need a little bit more in the OBP department for Berg. He swings and misses a little bit too much for my liking. I'd really like to see him be a little bit more of a consistent hitter. It feels like he's either striking out or hitting a home run at this point. I mean, it's kind of the Joey Gallo special. The average is a little bit better, but I mean, Gallo, it felt like at least would walk. I mean, at the end of his career, I know he's coming back as a pitcher. At the end of his hitting career, it felt like the walks totally left him, but you could kind of count on Gallo to at least get on base through the walk. I feel like Berger, it's either a strikeout or it's an extra base hit. And look, right now, he's going to send one pretty deep, 94 off the bat. That's going to be out right at the edge of the track in right field. Berger now 0 for 3 on the night. For me, Jake obviously is a guy that you need to have in the lineup. I like having him in the first 9, but I just don't love where he's at right now in the order. And I wouldn't be surprised if Skip decides to make a change at some point. I don't know how long you can keep trotting Berger out there in the 4 spot when you've got Josh Young, who is hitting right behind him and hitting like this. I know that I expressed some hesitancy to move Josh Young too far up in the order, but at this point, I think you have to consider it. Jake Berger clearly has had some big moments and some big games for Texas so far this season, but I don't think there's any denying. Ride the hot hand a little bit here. Berger has not quite been himself, at least not the version that we saw in the first week of the season and all of spring training. You might need to consider Jungle Cat hitting cleanup. Might need to consider it. We'll see what happens. Josh Young right now swinging a hot bat at 1 for 3 on the night with the home run that put the team up 4-3. And that was a beautiful shot, man. They're showing it right now on the replay. Going into the Rangers bullpen. It's beautiful. Josh Young's such a great story. Texas boy, San Antonio Rays, Texas Tech guy, drafted by the Rangers in the first round. I've gone over these details over and over again. For him to be a big-time player for the Rangers, it is a great, great story. And this comeback that he's had in 2026 is phenomenal to watch. Got to enjoy it. Have to enjoy it. Right now, 2-2-2. Let's go. Young staying alive. Staying alive. I think what's impressive, regardless of what he does in this at-bat, it just feels like a lot more balanced up there in the dish. At the plate. There would be times last year you would see Young swinging and falling into the left-handed batter's box. And this year it just feels a lot more balanced. The plate discipline, the vision, the swing decisions, they just all seem better. And he's going to go down on strikes here, but that was a filthy splitter by Blighter, no doubt. You can absolutely see why Young protecting there goes for that one. But everything just looks better this year for Josh. I have to say, you're not going to go win them every time, but everything looks a little bit sharper this year. Great to see. Lats coming into the ball game right now. To close this one out, we will have a very, very thrilling 9th inning coming up for you. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. We have a post-game show coming your way here in hopefully about 10 minutes of very low stress, easy breathing baseball. I'm going to try and get as many comments and questions in the post-game show as I can. Although now that we're at a commercial break, let's go ahead and let's peek at some of them. Do I think Maddox not being here is affecting the pitching staff? I'm sure there's a little bit of an effect, no doubt. I'm sure there's a little bit of an effect, right? But I don't think that with some of the veteran guys, it should be a big-time one. Nathan Eovaldi, he's been with Mike Maddox for a little while. He's been pitching in the show for a while. I know some people were correlating the Evo Mike Maddox, breakup, if you will, or at least the breakup of that tandem being like a thing. I don't buy it. I think Mike Maddox is a great coach. I think his absence definitely isn't a nothing burger, but I just feel like it's a little bit too weighty to put it all on Maddox. Like, Maddox is the reason why these guys are struggling. I don't know if I'm buying that 100%. I think for a guy like Nasty Nate, we broke down the reasons why things are not going well right now, and it all has to do with the fastball. The cutter and the fastball yesterday were getting absolutely rocked. He's in the 100th percentile going into the game yesterday in off-speed run value. This guy still has nasty stuff. So I think that we have to pump the brakes a little bit. The big-time fix that's needed with Nate is location with the fastball. He used to be able to blow it by guys. You could maybe make a mistake pitch, and you could potentially get away with something down the middle or something catching a lot of the plate. Nate's at a point in his career where he's still throwing the ball pretty hard, 95, right, pretty regularly. I mean, he's not a soft thrower at this point, but you're kind of nearing a spot in your career where you have to place that ball a little bit more carefully. You have to fine-tune that pitch and command it a little bit better than you were or expected to when you were a little bit younger in your career, throwing 100, throwing 99 every single time you were out there. I think that's all it is with Nate. I think bringing Mike Maddox into it is probably a little bit of an overanalysis, but a very fair question nonetheless. Keep going. Hey, Nate, good stuff, baby. Good to see you. I don't know if you're still hanging out, brother, but man, I hope they get a win for you right here. 0-2 right now. Ranger killer Shea Langoliers in the on-deck circle. Issue is Wyatt being out, so Berger is bumped up. We might need to double check on this one, TLC. It's never really been Berger getting bumped up. Berger is routinely hitting the cleanup role. So I don't really feel like this is, the issue here. Berger has been hitting cleanup a ton this year, right? They flip-flopped Langford and Seager, but that's been 2 and 3. Langford has not affected Berger's spot at all in the order. Berger's routinely hit 4th. So it's going to be interesting what they do, how long they want to continue holding on to Berg in that spot. Just to give some receipts here, right? Because you never love to just throw things out there and there's nothing to back it up. Berger is hitting 071. He is 2 for his last 28. One of those was the 2 RBI single. It was, a 74 mile an hour, squeaker through the infield. Hey, we'll take it any way we can get it, right? But Berger, 2 for his last 28, right? This isn't us just spouting off here, popping off. Berger, to me, just not totally right at this moment. 9 strikeouts to just 1 walk in that 28 AB span. These are the reasons why we're waving a little bit of the yellow flag on Berger, a little bit. Again, not supporting a bench, not supporting anything crazy, but potentially supporting maybe somebody else stepping up into that 4 spot, potentially Josh Young, former All-Star, right? I think Josh Young is a guy that you have to think the Rangers are going to give more and more RBI opportunities to. What's up with not using at least one batter's challenge? Yeah, I think Evan Carter probably could have used a challenge earlier in this one, decided not to. I think he eventually struck out. There's been a few different ones. The Rangers just not totally comfortable with the challenges, I guess. Langoliers in a 1-2 count. Nice pitch there by Latz, man. Really nice pitch by him. That's the exact pitch that you want to throw in this spot. Langoliers 2 for 4 on the night. We keep on going. Here's the pitch. Pop up. Stay in bounds. Stay in play. Come on, baby. It just gets out. Langoliers pops one up. Back behind home plate. It gets into the stands. And it will do it again. It's 2-2 here. Any homers? Jungle Cat. Jungle Cat had a homer. That's probably the play of the game right now. Most likely going to stand as the play of the game, barring something else happening down the stretch here. Appreciate all y'all hanging out on TikTok. Thank you so much. Looks like we're doing pretty good with comments. Duck, yes, sir. Stay hot, please, Josh Young. There are 2 outs now. Langoliers goes down swinging. Beautiful. And we have 2 down now. Got to get past Nick Kurtz. By the way, my bad on that one. Beautifully painted backdoor curveball. Langoliers frozen. That was painted. All right, one more. Let's go, guys. One more. Kurtz on the day, 0 for 3. First pitch slider. It is an 0-1 count at this point. And we will be 2 strikes away. Kurtz did walk earlier in the game, scored as well. 244 batting average on the season. He's going to take ball 1 here, high and away. Jacob Latz has to get the final 3 outs here in this one. I have said it. I know that Beeks gave up the big bomb to O'Neal Cruz in the 9th inning on Wednesday night, right? Really feel like Latz, and I said it after that game, hindsight's always 20/20, right? Beeks wasn't able to come through. O'Neal Cruz hits one off the top of the foul pole. Latz, to me, feels like the highest leverage guy. Feels like the highest leverage guy we've got, at least left-handed. Here's the pitch from him. 2-1 count. Ground ball. Josh Young's there. Release. And he is going to make the play. The Rangers win. They get back in the win column. Cue the I Like Texas music. And it is now an even series, 1-1 with the Athletics. Josh Young got to be your player of the game. Big home run to put the Rangers ahead, 4-3. That was back in the bottom of the 6th inning, and it could not have been a bigger swing. Josh Young, best hitter on the Rangers team right now, man. Just if you're going off stats alone, best hitter on the squad, sporting a very, very beautiful 300-plus average, an 894 OPS. You love to see it. You love to see it. MacKenzie Gore, let's talk about him. Jerry brings up a very good point here. Now, look, you had a number of different moments where Gore easily could have just folded, and you could have seen this one go real sideways. And MacKenzie Gore, again, not his best start, not as sharp as he could have been tonight, but he went ahead and just bared down and got it done. You stayed in the game. You kept the Rangers right where they needed to be. It felt like, again, after that big inning, I don't know how many pitches he threw. It felt 40 plus. Wasn't it pretty close to 40 in that one inning? Was it the 3rd inning? Just a ridiculous amount of pitches thrown. Could have easily gotten away from MacKenzie Gore today. He ends up pitching 5 innings, 3 earned runs, 6 hits, 3 walks. Yeah, McKenzie's not going to look back on this one super fondly. Did still have 7 Ks. Everything about this start, gritty. I'm not going to say spectacular, but it's a gritty start. You gave your team an opportunity to win, and that's huge. That, to me, it says everything about this ball game. Kept the A's at 3, allowed the Rangers an opportunity to come back late, and that's absolutely what happened. Came from behind and got it done, Mason. Yes, sir. Appreciate it, man. Good to see you as always. JJ keeping us alive. He made a great play down at 3rd base, too. Douglas, good stuff, baby. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, I was feeling awesome about Josh Young's start. I don't think a lot of Rangers fans were. So you're in the minority. It's a good minority to be in. I think all of us clearly are getting proven wrong. I think that's got to be said out loud. I think a lot of us were down on Young after his very slow start. And look, definitely had a little bit of some tough luck getting hurt in spring training. You got to think that factored into it a little bit. He did come out swinging a pretty hot bat in February and late February. And then once he got that sit-down day in Baltimore, it's really been nothing but upwards for the trajectory. Good stuff from Josh Young. I've got to admit, I was worried. I don't think that there's any shame in admitting you're wrong. I think that at this point, we've seen this enough that we can say he's on a very, very good, solid run. I don't think this is fluky. I think he's done this for a sustained amount of time. We know how baseball goes. It's a cruel game. You can easily go on a good month run, and then, you have some struggles. So that's not to say that the Jungle Cat, that Josh Young, is not going to struggle at some point this year, but he absolutely looks like a changed man swinging the bat in that box. We keep on going. Let me keep going with comments as much as I possibly can. Dude, this was a gutsy win. 35 pitches thrown in the third. Thank you for that, John. Good to see you as always, man. Absolutely. Like, if you lose this ball game, and look, it's a pretty quintessential Rangers win, right? 4-3. We've said it all last year. If you could just get to 4 runs, good things are going to happen. Sure enough, 4 is the magic number once more. And the Rangers win a tight ball game. This is the blueprint. It really is. You're not going to see this team win a bunch of games 10-2. That would be phenomenal. I would love that. I really don't think that's what you're going to see out of this squad more often than not. I think you're going to see close wins, low-scoring games, and the offense just doing enough to push the team over the top. And that's what you had tonight. You didn't have an offensive juggernaut performance from really anybody. Look, only 4 Rangers had hits tonight, and one of those 4 batters was Sam Haggerty with a bunt single. So let's frame this well, right? The only guys that got hits tonight were Seager, Josh Young, Danny Jansen, my bad. Let me throw him in there. And then Sam Haggerty. And again, Haggerty's hit was a bunt single. Beautiful bunt, by the way. Let's not take any shine off that. That was very well executed by Swaggerty. But look, you had Duran going over, you had Berger over, you had McCutchen plus Peterson over, Brandon Nimmo went over, although he did have an RBI line drive sac fly. This was not like an offensive gem from Texas, but this is what they have to be. They just have to be good enough offensively, and then you have to have the good clutch pitching coming in right after it. And that's what they got today from Cole Winn. That's what they got today from Beeks. That's what they got from Junis and Latz. The bullpen goes 4 scoreless and only gives up 1 hit, 1 base runner. Got to give some love to the pen, man. 4 innings, no earned runs, 1 base runner. And they notched 3 Ks in those 4 innings as well. Very, very good stuff tonight from the Rangers pen coming in relief of MacKenzie Gore. Make Latz the closer, lights out almost every situation. He's been a keystone to the whole pitching staff for a couple of years now. Why not? I think you're seeing it. I think Latz is going to be a guy that they rely on. And you had a big, tough guy coming up in Nick Kurtz. I think Skip probably looks at Nick Kurtz, even though Langoliers is right there, and says, you know what? I want a trustworthy lefty to come up against Nick Kurtz in this inning. So I'm giving the ball to Latz, even though Geloff and Langoliers both right-handed. You have a guy in Nick Kurtz that can tie the game with 1 swing of the bat. You want to have a solid lefty in there to get that done. So I got to think if it's not because Latz is the guy, it's because you had a pretty intimidating figure up third in the inning for the A's, and Latz took care of business, got him to ground out to end the game. Kumar on the mound tomorrow with first place on the line. Yeah, look, to have an opportunity, Kumar Rocker, win a series, take first place, and we know that Kumar is better at home than he is on the road, and that is the case for multiple of these Rangers pitchers. I don't know how widespread this is around the league. I'll have to do a deep dive on that at some point. Maybe this is just a totally natural thing, but with Kumar especially, the home ERA is just so much lower for his career than the road ERA. It's ridiculous. Home ERA is, I think, 2.47 career. Road ERA is like something ridiculous, like 7+. Hopefully Kumar has it tomorrow. We'll preview that game a little bit later on in the show. I think that, Colts fan, that is a pretty good combo. Junis, maybe Junis/Win, and then Latz as closer. I don't think a lot of people are going to argue with that. Josh Young wants an MVP. It looks like it, man. Silver Slugger, MVP, one of those 2 options. He absolutely does. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. Thank you so much. Having a great time. It's always good talking to y'all after a Rangers W, that's for sure. John, absolutely. Bullpen was nails today. Yeah, Latz, I don't think is like your traditional closer TLC. I think at some point, though, as a manager, you have to kind of throw out some of the advanced stats, some of the numbers, if you will, and just say, is the guy getting outs in the clutch? And I think right now that is what's going on with Jacob Latz. So will I agree that, he's not the prototypical closer? Absolutely, I'll agree with that. Is he getting outs, and has that been an issue for some of the guys on the team that have quote unquote maybe filthier stuff? Yeah, look, at this point, I'm going to take the guy with the ability to just get outs. And that's where I'm at on the Jacob Latz in the ninth inning debate. One of the biggest needs is a shutdown closer. I do think they will eventually try and upgrade that if they stay above water and they're in a playoff spot or very, very close to one at the deadline. I'm not sure that they're going to go and do that, if they're 5-6 games out, but I do think that it is going to be something that the Rangers no doubt explore. I think you'd be foolish not to. And when you think about it, Chris Young has entertained that pretty much every single year. So I don't think there's any doubt they're going to try at the deadline, if the Rangers are in a spot to make the playoffs, to improve the bullpen even more. And that's no knock or no disrespect to any of the guys that we currently have. I think at a certain point, when you get into October ball, you've got to take it to the next level. And as good as the bullpen has been thus far for the Rangers, again, there's no shade being thrown. You just look for an opportunity to upgrade. And I think they're going to try to do that if they are in a playoff spot at the deadline. Berger just missed one. Yeah, look, Berger, to me, he's got all the power in the world. You've just got to have a little bit better back-to-ball skills with him, a little bit more plate discipline. You see Berger just have those two outcomes far too often. He's either hitting an extra base hit or he's striking out. And to me, I would love to see Jake Berger become a little bit more than a one or two dimensional player, right? I mean, in that you have kind of the Joey Gallo-esque outcomes. Gallo is either hitting a bomb, at 110 plus off the bat, or he's striking out. And it feels like Jake Berger is kind of in that rut. Gallo, when he was a Texas Ranger, kind of in the prime of his Rangers years, was taking a lot of walks. You're not really even getting that with Berger. Berger is one walk in his last 29 plate appearances. That's not good. Not good for a cleanup hitter. I think Berger probably needs to get moved down in the order a little bit. Doesn't need to get benched. I know some people want that. I don't think he needs to get benched. I do think they need to consider moving him down in the order. Keep on rolling. Garcia injured, no more blown saves. I mean, it sucks to say that because I really don't root for people to fail on this team. I really don't. I don't root for people to fail, but I will say at the end of the day, you definitely feel a little bit less on edge. Is Robert Garcia going to come in the game? Is Chris Martin coming in the game? You feel a little bit less on edge. I'm going to be real with you guys. I felt it just knowing that it's not a possibility that one of those guys is coming in to blow it. I feel a lot better. I very much trust Junis. I trust Wynn. I know he got hit around a little bit in Sacramento. The Langoliers home run, I know Skip took a little bit of the blame for that one, about a week and a half ago, but I do think that you look at a majority of the guys at the back end of the pen, Beeks, Latz, do you feel like it's money in the bank every time? Let's maybe not go that far, but do you feel pretty good when any of those options come out of the bullpen? I do. Every guy that pitched tonight, I feel pretty solid about as they run out to home plate. Wynn, Beeks, Junis, Latz, when I see those guys running out this evening, there's not a big seed of doubt planted in my mind. This could be interesting, right? There are those guys, Garcia, Martin this year. I know he's had a couple of good outings, but Martin has had some adventurous ones too. I think those two guys, you're instantly raising an eyebrow, buckling the seatbelt, getting the barf bag ready, as I like to say, doing some deep breathing, right? Making sure you're fully prepared for the adrenaline that is going to start pumping right after the first walk. I feel pretty good with what the Rangers are working with at the back end of the pen right now. If I recall correctly, Luis Severino is the opposite, not good at home, but good on the road. So there are some pitchers that have the reverse splits. I would really love to see what the trend is league-wide on that. We're talking about Kumar Rocker, how he's so much better career-wise at home at Globe Life than on the road. And I just kind of mused out loud. Is that like a trend, or is that just a Kumar Rocker thing? So it's good to know that there is some variety in that. JJ hitting 375 in April. Yeah, leading all of MLB. Josh Young is on a heater, man. All-time heater. Wanted Kutch to have good game today. Yeah, I wanted Kutch to go off in the Pirates series. The stars just didn't align there, but I really wanted to see Kutch go off against Pittsburgh. I know some people feel like Kutch is being a little bit petty with his responses. I know he got asked about Pittsburgh a couple of different times during the Pirates series. I was on a work trip, so wasn't quite able to comment on a couple of those games. But, hey, appreciate the gift, by the way, Raj. Thank you so much, man. Really generous of you. Not needed, but very much appreciated. Thank you so much. Hey, Kutch just didn't get the type of opportunities that were necessary for him to have some kind of big impact in the Pirates series. He did get an opportunity today with the start. Struck out on a really tough pitch, man. It was just a painted inside corner pitch by Jeffrey Springs. Springs is a tough guy to go up against. I know that we got to him today thanks to the Jungle Cap bomb, but Springs is tough. Really, really tough. So I can't say I sit here and hold it against McCutchen too much. He's a guy that isn't getting to play a lot. You're getting thrown into the fire against a really, really good pitcher in Springs. And it's just not totally surprising to me in the 2 at-bats he got. You know, you're not lighting it on fire. Look, you can't make excuses all day. McCutchen, this is the role that he's in, and he's got to produce in it. And unfortunately, right now, 222 with the 617 OPS. It's not going swimmingly, smashingly, and whatever adverb you want to insert in there. But at the same time, I think you take it with a grain of salt. Kutch is playing twice a week, it feels like, on average. That's hard. That's not easy. Zeke Duran is getting more playing time than McCutchen, and that's no shade or disrespect to Zeke Duran, but that is the reality. We keep on going. I can't lie. I'm not a hater of those guys, and I believe they can get it done, but I agree. You do feel better knowing that they aren't coming in the game. We're talking about Robert Garcia and Chris Martin. Look, I don't root for any of those guys to do poorly, and I say that a lot, and I really do mean it. Clearly, when I'm posting online, we've talked about this all the time. You know, we all react in the moment differently throughout the course of a game. We're all on the roller coaster together, especially the diehards, man. We're on the roller coaster. It is the highest of highs and the lowest of lows for me when I'm watching a Rangers game. Now, I think I'm pretty tame in comparison to some, but I know some people would prefer just a very neutral reaction to every single event in a baseball game. It's just something that I'm never going to be able to promise to you guys. I've got so much emotion, so much love invested into this team. I take it very personally, and I think that's how it goes when you're a diehard. I just do not like watching this team lose ball games. I'm passionate. I know that comes across negative to some people who think that you should never complain about the team or any player. Again, respectfully, I hope you stick around, but it's probably not going to be the best spot for you if all you want is positivity 24/7. We call it like it is. We definitely say what needs to be said. I said it today. We got to stop blaming the ballpark. So we got to stop whining about the ballpark. A's are hitting 5 home runs on Friday night in this ballpark just fine. Rangers fans have got to stop complaining about the ballpark. You got the freaking A's hitting 5 home runs in this park, man. It is possible. Right? You call it like it is. And so when we're talking about Garcia and when we're talking about Chris Martin, we're calling it like it is. We definitely have seen enough from both of those guys where you don't know what you're getting and you don't know with any certainty if it's going to be a good night or a bad night. I think you can say that based on past experience with those players. All right, let's keep rolling. Astros have not been good this season. Fortunately, we know that can flip quickly, but fortunately, yes, that is holding true right now. I'm with this. Young batting in the cleanup spot, I do think is going to be a move that Skip probably highly considers. I've got to think that Jake Berger in this 2 for 28 that he's in, I know Skip probably doesn't want to hurt the confidence. I know that was Bochy's angle a lot of the time. I don't want to hurt the confidence. I don't want to send this guy down in the order and then he folds even more. Look, at some point, you've got to get over that mental hump if you're a player. If you get moved down 2 spots, show them why they made a mistake. That's the attitude you've got to have. Feels like the Jungle Cat took that on. I'm sure the Jungle Cat saw a ton of what people were saying, myself included, about him coming into this year, and take it personally. Take it personally, big guy. Go off. Hit 299 with a 894 OPS in 2026. Let's do it. You're not going to see me getting upset about it. So for me, if Berger needs to get dropped down, if that's what kickstarts him, great. It's just like Josh Young getting benched in Baltimore on that Tuesday. Needed to happen, and it's probably the best thing that happened to JJ. Skip benches him for Duran in Baltimore on that Tuesday. Wednesday day game, he starts hitting the ball, had the opposite field RBI single, and the rest is history. He's had a great month since then. But sometimes you've got to make uncomfortable decisions. Skip did that with JJ, benching him for Duran in Baltimore. You might have to do the same thing with Berger. Might have to. Berger, I do think, would be better suited in the 6 hole, maybe 7 spot. I do think you can move him down a little bit, and he's still able to have an impact. And when you think about it, if you can get Berger striking out just a little bit less and putting the ball in play more, what a guy to have from the 6 or 7 spot. What a guy to have. I mean, a dude that hits the ball as hard as he does. If you could just get a little less swing and miss from Bergatron, that is a deadly weapon at the bottom of an order. I mean, if you put him 7th, to have Jake Berger in the 7 hole, that's phenomenal. I think you can make that work. You think you've got guys that you can put 5 and 6. I mean, look, maybe they don't drop him down as far as 7, but I think you have got a lot of positive things to think about with him at the bottom of the order. He just brings a presence. Like, you got to be careful. You can't hang one to him. You can't have any mistakes past him. He is going to make you pay. But right now, just not putting the ball in play enough and not taking enough walks to be a cleanup hitter. Again, don't think he needs to be benched. No DFA, no send to AAA. I know some people are there and want to see that happen. I don't. I want to see Berger stay in the lineup. Just drop him down a couple places. JJ rolling. Darnell was good. Yes, sir, brother. Yeah, he is rolling big time right now. Both with the glove. Like, let's talk about the glove. Like, doing his best AB, his best Adrian Beltre over the last 2 or 3 games. You've seen Josh Young flashing that leather. It's not just the bat. It's a very complete performance from him. I know he had that one little interesting play in the Pittsburgh game on Wednesday night. Feels like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, dude has played some very good defense. And look, everybody's going to boot the ball around from time to time. Corey Seager's done it twice in the past week, right? Siegs had an error tonight. It happens to the best of them. Corey Seager was a Gold Glove finalist last year. So JJ, by and large, good stuff with the bat, great stuff with the glove. It feels very well-rounded from him this year. It's why you're even more excited about the prospect of him really having some staying power with what he's accomplishing and what he's producing right now. Eric, what's good, brother? Good to see you. I heard the Mariners won earlier today, huh? The Mariners still a little bit behind the Rangers in the standings, not much. But we'll go through the AL West as well here in just a little bit as we wrap up the show. We got about 20 minutes left or so. It's been great so far. Finished up the 8th and the 9th inning with you guys. Always love doing that. Nimmo was absolutely a great pickup. Carson, good to see you as always, man. Hope the golf game is going well, brother. And, yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. Nimmo has been phenomenal. Did have that RBI today. Hit the ball hard. Look, it was right at somebody. Easily could have been a gap shot going for a couple of runs with the bases loaded there, but he gets the job done, man. That was what, in the 3rd inning? Nimmo hitting 284 with an 835 OPS. It's great. Great to see from him. Hope they don't DFA Kutch, at least not right now. Yeah, I think that Kutch is always going to have that potentially in his rear view. The the DFA. I mean, it's an easy target, if you will, when the Rangers need a 40-man spot. Kutch, I do think, is going to be around for a while yet. I don't think they're going to pull the plug on him. I think that he is there to do exactly what he's doing right now, and that is be a right-handed presence in the DH spot against lefties. Is he killing it? No, but I mean, go back to the beginning of the year. He's had a couple of big homers in big spots, and it's really not shocking to me with Andrew McCutchen. He was playing pretty much like that entire Phillies series. And when you're playing and when you're in a groove like that, I think the results show, and he's just not been getting a lot of opportunities right now. We'll keep our eye on it. Kutch, I do think, has value beyond the field. Mason, I think this is really well said. By the way, go give Mason a follow. By the way, he's posting on X a lot, writes for the Prospect Times. Prospect Times, shout out to them. Great stuff, a lot of great writers. I love what they put out. And it helps me, honestly, keep up with all of our prospects in the farm system. I have gotten into the farm system so much more thanks to Prospect Times and thanks to all of the creators out there that put a little bit more emphasis on the farm system than maybe they would in the major leagues. It's good stuff. Definitely worth the follow. Chris Young should be investigated because of how he keeps doing this with the bullpen. It is insane. All Jock is batting like 220. What's going on here? Yeah, look, what CY is able to do with what I call loose change and spare parts. No disrespect to Jalen Beeks. No disrespect to Jacob Junis. It's not like these guys were trash, right? We don't want to at all put out the vibe that that's what we thought when they signed these guys. And I know that some of y'all can attest to that. I wasn't on here like, this guy sucks. Jalen Beeks, what are we doing? But I will say, I think that there was a little bit of overhype on some of the players. I think there's a tendency to do that when you're still fresh into the offseason and the Rangers aren't making the sexiest of moves. Sometimes you overdo it a little bit with some of these players. I saw a little bit of that going on. I wish the Rangers would have gone out and gotten some bigger names, but you know what? Credit to them. They've made it work. CY saw some potential in these guys, and it's going pretty well so far. I do think the ninth inning, regardless of what happened tonight, is still something to keep your eye on. I think that the Rangers have to figure out a long-term solution. Maybe it's Jacob Latz, but we'll see what happens. I don't think that Latz is your prototypical closer, but if he's getting outs in the ninth inning, it's really hard to go away from it. Really hard. Chase, yes, sir. Mason's awesome. Totally agree with you, man. Kutch and Haggerty getting more ABs. I wouldn't mind seeing it at all, man. I loved the Haggerty bunt. That was a great call. I go back to Bochy last year, and I love Bruce Bochy, one of the best managers of all time. But don't we feel like last year we probably swing away in that spot? Like, I was thinking about that as it was happening, as I saw Swaggerty square to bunt in that third inning. It was first and second, nobody out. I was thinking to myself, I doubt we would be doing this last year. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like we were always playing for the big inning, even though our offense last year was not very good. I feel like we were just stubbornly always playing for the big inning. So when Haggerty squares around a bunt in the bottom of the third inning, I'm like, yes, please, let's do this. And rewarded instantly. What a beautiful bunt. Haggerty with the wheels. You put the ball in play, beautiful things can happen. Haggerty uses the speed. Springs is a little slow off the mound getting to the ball. I don't think it was like the best bunt I've ever seen, but it made Springs field his position. He was a little slow off the bump, and Haggerty, being as quick as he is able to get a base hit out of it. That was awesome, man. And that was the first base hit of the ball game. Funny enough, I commented on X, man. I'll take it whatever way we can. I think there was a hit by pitch, then Evan Carter walked, and then Swaggerty bunts the ball for the first base hit of the game. We'll take it. And we're able to get a couple runs out of it. That was huge, right? You had the Seager RBI, you had the Nimmo sac fly, and it all goes back to the bottom of the order, 7, 8, 9, working good quality ABs. It's beautiful to see. And I love that Skip is not afraid at home, down runs, right? At that point, it's 3-0. You do have some managers out there at 3-0. We're talking some nerdy baseball strategy here. You have some managers that say to themselves, yeah, I'm playing for the big inning here. I'm down 3-0. I'm at home. I'm not bunting. I'm not giving them an out. I'm going to play for the big inning, and we're going to see what happens here. And I love that Skip wasn't afraid. Hey, we might give up an out here, but at the same time, we might get really, really fortunate. Maybe the defense kicks it around a little bit. Maybe they're not able to make a play on the bunt, and we keep on cooking. And that is exactly what happened. I love it. I'm a big, big fan of what Skip brings to the table philosophically. I know that he's had some gaffes along the way. I don't think that he's been perfect. I know we've talked about interesting bullpen decisions that Skip has made, and even Skip has admitted the lack of perfection. So I'm not saying anything groundbreaking here, but by and large, I think the mentality that he brings to the table is a good one. I do think something I'm really curious about, and I'm getting way ahead of myself, but I do feel like this year is a little bit of like a feel out year for Skip with this lineup. So what I mean by that is I think Skip had some influence on who they wanted to go out and get this offseason. I would be really shocked if Skip had zero influence on the Nimmo trade. I think Skip being in the NL East, having to play Brandon Nimmo so many different times every year, got to see Nimmo firsthand when he was coaching for the Marlins. I'd be shocked if Skip didn't have a pretty strong say in the Nimmo trade. I think some of the other guys in the lineup right now are kind of on a trial run. I think that they're getting a year here to adjust to Skip's system and to his philosophies and see if they can begin to play his style of baseball. But I could see this lineup looking a lot different in 2027. Look, we're just totally throwing out the possibility of a strike. I'm very aware that could happen. But I do feel like there is going to be a very interesting offseason ahead of us in more ways than one if some of the players in the current lineup do not get more on board with what Skip wants to do offensively. Like I said, tonight, you had only 4 Rangers that got hits. And one of them was Haggerty with the bunt single. This was not a offensive masterpiece. It wasn't. But the Rangers did just enough, and that is what they decided to bet on this year. They didn't go out and get a super big name free agent. Brandon Nimmo was a very, very nice acquisition. There's no doubt about it. But you decided to fill second base internally with Josh Smith and with Zeke Duran and, potentially Cody Freeman when he comes back here within the next couple of weeks. You decided to go that route. You didn't trade for Ketel Marte. You didn't go out and get Brendan Donovan. Okay. But at this point, I think you do need a little bit more from the offense if you want to do something special. Winning games in April, outstanding, phenomenal. I love it. Not going to ever complain about a W. That being said, to do something special in October, I do think you need a little bit more from guys not named Young, Nimmo, and Seager. And let me be very, very clear. When I say a little bit more, I'm talking about consistency. We've got to have a little bit more consistency from other guys in this lineup. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. Justin, good to see you as always, my guy. Let me see. What am I missing here? We really haven't seen what CY can do with a non-tight budget. If CY actually had a budget to get a closer, he was a part of a World Series team with a great bullpen. Mason, we've talked about this before. I push back just a little bit because the Rangers do have such a high payroll. I do think, and I know this isn't anything new that I've said, but I'll definitely repeat my standard line on this. I do think that CY wasted some money. You think about the Jock Peterson move. I don't want to be negative about Jock because he's on a good little tear here, but the Jock Peterson signing was bad. And the Tyler Mahle signing was bad. It was not a good signing. I don't care how good Tyler Mahle was when he was healthy. The Rangers got less than 20 starts from Tyler Mahle in 2 years, and they didn't make the playoffs either year. That's not money well spent. I think we got to be real about that. And so I do think CY has been given the opportunity to spend money at times, but I do think, sadly, for us fans, some of his failures with the contracts that he's given out have led Ray Davis to where he is right now. Now, do I think the Rangers have a lot of excuses for not at least spending a little bit more and not doing the self-imposed budget? Rangers are 30 million plus under the luxury tax threshold right now. They could have gone out and gotten a Pete Fairbanks. They could have gone out and signed Sean Armstrong to a $5.5 million deal. That was very, very doable. The Rangers did the self-imposed budget this year, and here we are. But I do think that the moves with Peterson, with Mahle, had some interesting decision-making there. It didn't work out. I think that contributed. I think that CY has had opportunities with more of a big budget, if you will. And I think you're seeing an owner a little bit untrusting of CY's ability to hand out a worthwhile big contract. Look, you had Seager and Semien. At that point, it was still a bit of the John Daniels era, right? CY was involved, but John Daniels was still there. Chris Woodward was there as well. And you had John Daniels honestly making quite a few moves. John Daniels, you're thinking about Josh Young today. Say thank you to John Daniels. John Daniels drafted Josh Young. So if you're liking what Josh Young is doing, thank JD. A lot of people give JD not enough credit, in my opinion. All right. We could go on with that saga forever and ever. We're going to go ahead and keep rolling. We got 10 minutes left in the show, and we still have to preview tomorrow's game, but I'm going to get to a few more comments here. Skip was a tremendous hire. Absolutely. Scoring with the bases loaded was huge. Yeah, taking advantage of it in that third inning. Getting 2 runs. The Seager RBI was big. You had the Nimmo sac fly. To get the Seager RBI after McCutchen struck out, the 2-out RBI, just big time from Siegs. That, to me, is one of the more clutch hits of the game. You're thinking about the JJ home run as being super clutch. Corey Seager, 2-out RBI. After you had the bases loaded, Nimmo hits the sac fly, McCutchen strikes out, Seager comes up, 2 outs, 1 run has scored at that point. To get that second run across was so big. So I think Corey Seager's AB there in the third inning, another one you got to look at and really lift up high as a reason why the Rangers got the W here. Keep going. Jock Peterson is equal to John Daniels, grabbing Fielder. Yeah, like in theory, great move, right? Prince Fielder, in theory, great move. And I actually loved Prince's time with the Rangers. The injuries absolutely suck. Just totally gutting, right? I don't think anybody's ever going to forget the press conference Fielder gives when he announces he's retiring from the game. I mean, that stuff pulls at your heartstrings. Fielder, in theory, was great. But the injuries, the health stuff, just look, maybe call it bad luck, call it unfortunate, but it just didn't work out, right? And unfortunately, you traded Ian Kinsler, one of the most beloved Rangers out there, in the process. Prince, I have nothing but love for him. Still enjoyed watching him play in a Rangers uniform, but yeah, I think that is a fairly decent comp there. Although, not completely apples to apples with that one being a trade. Still, you had a little bit of an overpay, whether it's with trade chips, whether it's with your free agent money. I still think pretty decent comp. Agree on the Jock because I felt it was too much from the get-go. Not a huge fan of the Mahle deal now. He's had some bad moves. I don't think he's done a terrible job either, Mason. Yeah, I don't blame Ray Davis. I know a lot of people do. Look, if somebody, I've said this so many times, let me give this analogy. Like, if you had a financial advisor that, blew through $50+ million, just wasted it. I mean, look, doesn't matter how many billions you have. If you just had a financial advisor blow through $50+ million in your portfolio with really nothing to show for it, and those were the Mahle and the Jock Peterson contracts combined, right? Mahle, I believe, made $20+ million. Jock Peterson making 38. So honestly, I can't blame Ray for saying, man, this guy just blew through $50+ million. I don't know if I want to give him the open purse strings here. I still think the Rangers should have spent more money, stayed under the luxury tax, but spent more money. I think that the product on the field would have been even better. Rangers are 14-13 right now. So they're hanging above 500, which is great. but I do think the Rangers could have taken that step into potentially that first or second tier of MLB teams had they stayed under the luxury tax, but just spent a little bit more. The self-imposed budget was such a killer. It really was. But hopefully the trade deadline is where the Rangers get a little bit better. I think a lot of us are crossing our fingers for that. Great win as well, Nate. Hey, go again tomorrow, please. Nate, if you're still watching, go again tomorrow, man. We need you. We need you. Seriously. Hey, first in division, Sir Taco, yes, sir. Hey, the AL West, not necessarily the best of the best in MLB, but you know what? First place is first place, baby. I'll take it. I will take it all day long. I'm a big CY guy. He's definitely has some things to figure out. Believe he will. Very, very smart baseball guy. Highly respected. Has a grasp on pitching development. Those things are all true. I do think you have to consider Mitch Bratt, Cole Drake, David Hageman. You might not like that CY dealt them, but I think that they were in a position to be good trade chips because of good development. And so I do think you're onto something there for sure. Hey, go Rangers. Absolutely. Appreciate the comments, all y'all. Don't know if I've missed a whole lot on TikTok or not. Off topic, but gotta love RSN broadcasters make the game enjoyable. I've come to hate other networks. It's funny. There are so many people that are I divided on the RSN guys. Look, I've said I don't hate or super dislike the RSN guys. I'd rather listen to the radio guys myself, which I did today. I just enjoy listening to them more so. You know, you have Nadell, you have Sandler in there as well, and Hicksy. I just like that trio a little bit better than Dave Raymond and Mike Baksick. They get just a little too zany for me at times. Like, did you guys today on the broadcast, like the Jacob Wilson stuff that they were doing? Like, that's the kind of the quintessential thing that I'm talking about that they do, where I kind of am like, all right, this is a little too much. Right? We don't need to go full on comedy bit here. You'll have to go back and look. I don't know if I can post it, but their little, segment on Jacob Wilson and how he's like always moving in the box. That to me is like exactly a perfectly painted picture of what I'm talking about when I say it's a little too zany for me. I get how some people enjoy that, and I'm not trying to be super negative. I would just rather hear the radio guys than, a whole at bat focused on Jacob Wilson dancing around. And I think they were like making some like dog comparisons. Like, I don't know. It was getting a little bit weird. I mean, look, I'm gonna be real. It was getting a little weird for me, but I know some people like it. I know it's some people's cup of tea. I'm not saying it's totally not mine, but I'd rather listen to Hicks and Nadell and Sandler call the games if I have the choice. Sometimes I'm lazy and I just don't do like the audio feed change. And like I said, don't hate Baksick or Raymond or even really dislike, but I would just say I'm a little more old school. I grew up listening to the radio. Like, my favorite memories as a kid would be like when the Rangers were playing late night Oakland, late night Seattle, and it would be like a weeknight, and I'd be up listening to the radio guys. And, you kind of have the radio quiet so mom and dad don't hear that you're still up. That was like the classic memories for me. And so I just always have an affinity for those guys over the TV guys. But that's just me. That's just me. I've always been a fan of Mike. Not going to lie. Miss him on the Fan. I loved Mike on the Fan. Like, I think it's just settings, right? I love Baksick in a radio role. And I enjoy listening to his takes on the game. I'm not sure Mike is the best color guy that I've ever heard. And I'm not saying that I could do it better. Don't get me wrong. But I liked Mike a lot when he was on the radio. I think that's a perfect setting for him because on the radio, like kind of I'm doing the show right now, you can be a little bit looser. On the, on the TV broadcast, I do feel like you got to keep it a little more professional, but it is what it is, man. Let's see. Sir Taco, all right, we're in lockstep on that. I do wish Jared Sandler got more opportunities as well, Mace. I really like when Jared calls games. I think he does a phenomenal job. I'm a big Jared Sandler fan. Jared, good guy, good people, and I think he is definitely one of the better up-and-coming guys. I know he's been around the Rangers for a long time. Obviously not like super well-known MLB wide in terms of fans from different teams and things of that nature. But I think Jared, one of the really solid up-and-coming guys. Listen to Nolan Ryan's no-hitter on the radio. That's what I mean. Like, there's so many good memories that I have, growing up in the 90s, listening to games on the radio. And that is why I still prefer it to this day, honestly. I listen to way more radio games than TV watching. Like, that is how I grew up, listening to Rangers games on the radio. And look, I actually loved when it was like late night West Coast, because you got to stay up late and it was kind of like a fun, cool thing. Like, I don't know. I could go on and on. Let me keep going here. Appreciate everybody hanging. Gary, what's good, man? Gary, yeah, like on the radio, like I said, I'm good with him on the radio. I just think color commentary, it gets a little weird for me sometimes. All right. Let's end on some positives here. Let's talk tomorrow's game real quick. We have Kumar Rocker on the bump, and Rangers are trying to win a series. You've got 1-1 right now. A's won last night. Rangers win 4-3 tonight. And you go to tomorrow's game, it is going to be an 11:35 start time. You've got Ginn throwing against Rocker. Here are the numbers, both directions. First of all, Ginn, just tell you a little bit about his last start. He pitched against Seattle, went 5 1/3, 3 earned runs, 7 total base runners. Before that, he pitched against Texas, 5 1/3, 2 earned runs, 4 walks. So the Rangers were really able to make him work quite a bit. Took no decisions in each one of those games, by the way. So on the year, Ginn, with a pretty healthy ERA and pretty healthy numbers across the board, 3.74 ERA. I mean, that's nothing to be ashamed of. But let's go into the matchups with Ginn, specifically against Texas. So you've got a number of guys with, I would say, a decent amount of ABs, a lot of guys with just 2 or 3. But you've got Josh Smith, 3 for 9 against Ginn. I think we'll see Smitty tomorrow. You got Corey Seager. He is 2 for 5 with a home run against Ginn in his career. You've also got Jock Peterson, 2 for 6 with a bomb. You've got Brandon Nimmo, 1 for 5 with a bomb. So you've got also Josh Young. Here we go. JJ. He is batting 2 for 8 with 2 home runs against Ginn. So beyond that, Kyle Higashioka, 1 for 2. Everybody else is 0 for, but only with like 2 or 3 ABs, man. It's not much. On the other side, Kumar Rocker against the A's. Lawrence Butler, 2 for 7 with a homer. Cortez and Geloff, both 0 for 2. Hernandez and Ibanez, no ABs. Thomas and Wins do not have ABs against Rocker either. Langoliers, 3 for 6. So Ranger killer Shea Langoliers, once again, the guy you kind of got to watch out for. Then you also have Kurtz, 1 for 3 against Kumar in his career. McNeil and Muncy, both 0 for 1. And Soderstrom, 3 for 5. So Jack Wilson, also 4 for 6. So Wilson, Soderstrom, Langoliers, kind of the guys at this point that you want to look out for a little bit tomorrow if you're Rock. Rock is a guy that throws much better at Globe Life than he does on the road. And I think we've talked about those splits. Again, sub 250 ERA when Kumar Rocker pitches at home. Career sub 250 ERA when Rock is in Arlington throwing the baseball. When he leaves Arlington and goes to pitch on the road, it is not so kind. You go to the road splits for his career, it ain't pretty. I believe I had the number memorized at one point, but at away games, he's had 12 of them in his career. We're talking about a guy that has a 7.48 ERA on the road. 4-2 with a 2.47 ERA at home. 1-6 with a 7.48 ERA on the road. Not great. Not great. Yes, John, thank you. The begging dog bit. I'm going to have to post. I am going to post this those guys are out of pocket sometimes, 100%. They do get totally out of pocket. Look, I'm not going to sit around and pretend like I didn't laugh one bit, but then you just start thinking, where is this going? This is going off the rails right now. Out of pocket, baby. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. Hey, we're about to end things for the night. We've been going a little bit over an hour. It's been a lot of good stuff. We're going to be back tomorrow, hanging out, talking more Rangers baseball, hopefully talking about another Rangers win and series win over the A's. Kumar Rocker, hopefully throw in a gem at Globe Life. That would be phenomenal. Kumar's stats in the minors are unreal. Yeah, look, he's definitely got a ton of potential, Sir Taco. I like a lot of what I see from Kumar. Just got to, like the rest of the Rangers lineup we've talked about already tonight, see a little bit more consistency, right? I hope you're right on this. I really do hope he is close to figuring it out as well. Hey, to wrap it up, Rangers get a clutch 2-run homer from the Jungle Cat from Josh Young. Corey Seager earlier in the game adds a clutch 2-out RBI single. Brandon Nimmo had an RBI sac fly with the bases loaded. Rangers get 4 runs off that. MacKenzie Gore struggles, but he turns in a gritty performance. Only allows 3 earned runs, goes over 100 pitches. Bullpen, 4 shutout innings, 1 base runner, 3 strikeouts, 0 walks. They continue to have a very good start to 2026. We'll be back tomorrow. Hope you guys have an outstanding rest of your Saturday afternoon and evening. Shoot, it's evening, man. Forget the afternoon. What am I talking about? But hope to see you tomorrow. If not, maybe at some point next week as the Rangers play the Yankees. That's going to be a good one. But until then, hope y'all have a great rest of your Saturday. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.